Then what I simply do is open up the paper that I'm wanting to read and then drag and drop it to my iPad using universal control. This step takes you from getting measly high distinctions all the way up to, in this video today, I'm going to be showing you how you can get 100% on your next assignment, because while it's true that Ps do get degrees, what they don't get you is into master's level degrees or doctorates. So if you want to aim high, this is the right video for you. The following video is based around my workflow that I perfected during my undergraduate studies in biomedical science, where I received 100% on several of my assignments, which really bolstered my GPA and helped me to achieve my dreams. This workflow is pretty universal. It'll work for STEM-based learning as well as humanities-based learning. So I hope this helps you to achieve your dreams as well. My name is Ashima. I'm a third-year medical student from Melbourne. This video is going to be divided up into 3 parts. The first part is how you're going to get started on the assignment and what you should do to prepare to write the paper, because that's a big roadblock for a lot of people. Secondly, it's about the meat of the assignment, how you're going to process the information and write a stellar paper. The third part is how you're going to tie off your assignment with a nice big beautiful bow ready for submission. I would be really hard pressed to find a student out there that hadn't started an assignment the night before, myself included. But if we want to write an assignment that's going to get us full marks, obviously the night before is not the way to go. How we're going to circumvent the procrastination that almost inevitably sneaks in is that as soon as we hear about an assignment or as soon as we see it in our emails, we're going to set a 20-minute timer to commence working on the assignment before we've even had a chance to think about it. A common method used when you're trying to procrastinate less is the 1-2-3 method. So for example, if you're in bed and you oftentimes have difficulty getting out of bed, you count down to yourself 1, 2, 3, and then you do the thing. So 1, 2, 3 and I'm out of bed. Or 1, 2, 3 and I'm washing the dishes. You count yourself in, and the key to that is to not spend any more time thinking about the activity. So that's what the 20-minute timer is doing. For that 20-minute timer to be successful, you want to have click start well before your brain has even had a chance to try to get out of this situation. And once the 20-minute timer has been started, well, you may as well be working on your assignment, because 20 minutes isn't that long and completing the timer is a hell of a lot better than letting yourself down. Okay, so tick tock, now this time is ticking away, and what are you gonna do? What are your first steps to completing this assignment? If you were going to go and visit your friend little Timmy, who lives a few suburbs away, would you just walk out of your house and walk aimlessly in a direction and hope that you got there? You probably wouldn't do that. You would probably look up his house on Google Maps, have a look at where he lives, have a look at how to get there. So same with an assignment. You're not going to just blindly start walking into the abyss. You want to know where you're going and you want to know how to get there. So the first thing that you're going to do in this 20-minute timer that you've set yourself is find the rubric or the criteria, same thing, different language, and print it out. If you can't find the rubric, email the subject coordinator or the professor and get them to email you a copy, because every assignment that you receive in university has to have a rubric. The rubric is going to be a roadmap and your compass to how you can get to 100% in this assignment. Having a physical copy is really helpful, as this document is going to be your Bible. Make sure that you read through it 2 or 3 times, highlight the important bits so you have an idea of where this assignment is going to be going. I'm working on a systematic review at the moment for uni, so I've got 3 documents printed out for that. There is a document called Instructions for Students, which basically outlines the entire assignment. Separate to that, we've got the rubric, which I think is the most important part to have on your person. And for this assignment, we were lucky enough to get a copy of an assignment that a student completed last year. So I printed that off as well, because I wanted to be able to dissect what made this assignment such a great one. The final part of my getting started ritual is to draw out a visual representation of how many words are in the word count. There aren't many moments while you're writing an assignment that make you feel successful other than when you hit submit. So building moments where you can feel successful into your process is really important to stay motivated. I break up my visual representation of the assignment into 100-word blocks. So every time I hit 100 words, I can color it in and feel successful and get a dopamine hit and stay motivated. Now that we've got the assignment off the ground, we are now going to talk about how we're going to deal with the meat of the assignment. And the first thing we want to consider as we begin to write our assignment is we want to optimize our reading experience. This is one of my favorite points of this whole video because once you implement this into your workflow, it's going to be a much more seamless and enjoyable process for you to be reading and writing your assignment. Every assignment that you do starts off with some wider reading, so you can start to gather your resources, you can start to see what ideas are out there on your topic already, and so you can start to generate your own ideas and construct your own arguments that you're going to put forth. Reading on a computer screen can be quite fatiguing, especially when you've got a lot of articles to get through, and it can be uncomfortable and cause you to strain over an extended period of time. I like to use universal control on my Mac and my tablet to optimize my reading experience. The devices that I'm currently using is my iMac computer and my Apple iPad. So I'm using the 2020 27-inch iMac and also the 2015 iPad Pro. On my iPad, I'm also using the application Goodnotes. As I'm searching through the internet trying to find articles that are relevant to my assignment, I'll firstly give them a quick scan. If on the quick scan, I feel like an article might be really relevant to my research question, that's when I'll download the file to my computer. Organization is very important to good assignment workflow, so I will create a folder on my desktop titled the name of the assignment, and then I will download the research paper and label it surname, first initial, year, and then save that document into my folder on my desktop for easy access. Then I go to my tablet and open up Goodnotes, and within Goodnotes, I'll also make a folder named after my assignment. Then what I simply do is open up the paper that I'm wanting to read and then drag and drop it to my iPad using universal control. You can check and see if your devices are compatible with universal control by clicking the link in the description. If your devices are not compatible with universal control, it might be worth you looking into whether Sidecar can work to a similar effect. But basically, the experience of reading a research paper on your tablet versus your computer is orders of magnitude better. Firstly, it's so easy to zoom in and zoom out on your tablet. Sitting and reading with the page in front of you is a lot more comfortable than reading on the computer screen. You can adjust a tablet to a comfortable distance away from your face a lot more easily than you can adjust a computer screen to an optimal distance from your face. And also, highlighting and annotating is a lot more organic and experienced on an iPad than it is on a computer. For myself, realizing how much more I got out of reading articles on a tablet was a huge paradigm shift. So I hope you try it out for yourself and have some of the same positive effects that it had on me. Okay, so now that you're reading all articles to do with your assignment, the next step is to capture these ideas. So what I recommend you do is create a document called Ideas Dump. I make this in Google Docs where you can place all of your ideas that you're coming across. This document is there to just be a big mess of all of the ideas that you come across. So don't worry about making it tidy or anything like that. Just focus on getting down the material that you've gleaned from the articles. So if you're reading an article and you really like some of the points it makes, firstly copy a link to the article into the Ideas Dump page, followed by the author and the year so you can quickly find it on your desktop. And lastly, just jot down a few bullet points about what you like about this article. Also at this point, feel free to copy and paste chunks of the article into your Ideas Dump page because we're not going to use this in the final assignment, so you're not going to be at risk of plagiarism. Aim to collect up between 10 and 20 references depending on the length of your assignment. Also, as you're going along and adding different articles to the Ideas Dump page, try to look for connections between articles as well and grouping like groups together. If you can casually start building relationships between different groups of resources, then you can slowly start to build your argument and form your own opinion about what you think is going on in this field. Now that you've completed your Ideas Dump page, it's time to move on to the all-important rough draft. If you want to write a full mark scoring assignment, you need to write a rough copy. It's a super important part of your process and it's where you're going to be generating your best ideas. How I like to organize this is that I do a split screen and I've got my Ideas Dump on one side and my rough copy on the other side. It's still quite intimidating to get writing because we've got this blank page. So I like to fill out that blank page a little bit by putting some subheadings in. So for the assignment I have at the moment, I'm lucky enough that it has its own built-in subheadings like introduction, methods, results, conclusion. So I can put those in there. But even if I was doing an assignment without prescribed headings, I would just create my own headings like introduction, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, conclusion, so that there's something on the page and something that I can build on. I also immediately enter keywords from the rubric that I need to answer as I go along. So for example, if the rubric says something like, does the student identify other research in the field? So I don't forget to provide an answer for that part of the rubric. My aim for the rough draft is to aim for quantity, not quality. So I'm just aiming to get up to the word count. I'm not aiming to write anything spectacular. I'm not even aiming to write full sentences here. I think bullet points is fine for me at this point. My only rule here is that I no longer copy and paste information from other documents into this draft. I have to write it all out in my own words unless it's a direct quote that I'm going to use and then cite. And then to make it easier for me again to start writing, I break the whole assignment up into 100-word chunks. So what I do is I set a timer and give myself 10 minutes to write 100 words. Now it's time to write our good copy, and it should be relatively easy now that we've got our rough copy down. Even going through the process of writing everything out in your rough copy really would have helped to reinforce ideas and to generate new ideas. So now that you're writing the good copy, it should come pretty easily to you. The main rule that I have for writing my good copy is I don't copy and paste anything from the rough draft into the good copy. I just find that it's way too easy to copy and paste over mistakes into your good copy, and I just try to avoid that. When I rewrite it out by looking at the rough draft, I find that it's more eloquent and it just flows a lot better and the ideas sound a lot more fleshed out that way. Because you've already got so many ideas written down, it's a lot easier to focus on things like structure, grammar, spelling, than if you were trying to do all of those things all at the same time. Make sure that you fill out your word count tracker as you go along to keep yourself motivated in these final few steps. Okay, so now you've got your assignment fully written out. You're so close to getting done. There are still a few crucial things that we have to do before we hit that submit button. The first thing that we want to do as we tie this assignment up is to optimize our first and last impression of the assignment. There is a really good chance that the person marking your assignment may only read the introduction and the conclusion. So you want to make sure that the introduction and the conclusion are up to the best standard that you can possibly make them. So spend some time going over these two areas with a fine-tooth comb. Is the introduction firstly engaging, and does it give you a really good preview about what is yet to come? And does the conclusion feel satisfying and logical? Spend some extra time crafting the language in these two areas and your entire assignment will have a glow up. Okay, so I bet you're pretty tired by this point, but there is no time to slack off because we've got to move on to our editing. Editing is such a meticulous process, and I bet you're struggling to have the attention span to edit your document correctly at this point. But never fear, I have the best solution for this problem. What you need to be your own best editor, even when you're super tired, is to download a speech-to-text plugin. What I meant to say in quite an ironic error here is that you need a text-to-speech plugin rather than a speech-to-text plugin. I use this one on Google Chrome. I'll link it in the description. Once you've installed the plugin, play your assignment back to you via the audio, and it is so much easier to pick up any grammatical errors that you would have made. Any sentences that sound not quite right or very unclear will be immediately apparent to you.
The quick fox brown jumped over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
And it's going to help you really quickly get a very clean edit. I recommend doing this at least 2 times, but it shouldn't take more than about 20 minutes total. Okay, so you now have your assignment written out. You've edited it. It's really hard to say that. I dare you to try. Edited it. So now what? Are we ready to submit yet? Not quite. There is one final step, and this is the step, honestly, that changes the game. This step takes you from getting measly high distinctions all the way up to 100%. I've used this multiple times to great success. A few of my subscribers have also used this and reported back to me their success. It's just a brilliant tip, and I really hope you don't overlook this one. It's a process that I like to call the Midas touch. So much the same way that when we first meet someone, we judge them based entirely on how they look, assignments are exactly the same. As soon as the marker opens the assignment, they're already making judgments about it based on their first impression. If it looks a bit hodgepodge, they're going to think it's not as good an assignment. But if you take that extra effort and format it and make it look very aesthetically pleasing, they're going to be wowed by the way it looks. And the perception that they have of you and your work is just going to skyrocket. They're going to think, wow, this is so impressive that this student put this level of detail into this assignment. They have gone above and beyond. Sometimes assignments will have a criteria on how they want the assignment to look, so Times New Roman, size 12, double space. So definitely do the things that are on the rubric, but if it doesn't explicitly say on the rubric that they want it to be plain and black and white, then there's no reason that you can't make it look beautiful and add your own flair to it. You don't need to be Leonardo da Vinci to make your work look excellent. You could just go on Word, get one of their templates, or if you're feeling very creative and you've got the time, Adobe Illustrator is also really fun to mess around with. All human beings favor aesthetic things, so as soon as you can recognize that, you can start to use it to your advantage. Boys, girls, and other, we are now finished writing our assignment. My fingers are crossed for you that you're going to get 100%, and if you enjoyed this video, I think you might really like to watch my how to get a 4.0 GPA video as well. Thanks for watching.